Okay, so today we are going to talk about a different type of property management, which is association management. So condo association or homeowner association management. This is Alan Meserole. I'm here with MH Properties, and we're here to talk to you about why the three different subjects involving HOA management and condo association management, and what makes that type of management of real estate different than regular residential or commercial property management. The three different types of association management, or the three different aspects of it rather, that need to be considered when considering any kind of property management company is an understanding of what makes this type of property management different than regular property management. How is it different than just renting out a house to someone? It's actually very different. The second is, what are the most common problems or issues that a real estate manager will come up against when they're managing this type of property or community, as they call it in association management in that world, and what makes our company, MH Properties, stand out. And we're going to touch on all three of those today. Let's start with the first one. Why is association management different than regular property management? That is a good subject to touch on first. There are three things that I feel are important to note when you're talking about what makes it unique or different than regular property management. The first thing is that the residents are homeowners in association in that kind of setting. They might rent their property out aside from owning the property, but they are anyone who owns a property, a condominium, or a house in an HOA or a condo association. They are homeowners. Because of that, their tendency is to be a lot more involved in how the community is governed, because they have a vested interest, right? So when decisions are made, the community comes together, and there's a board which is made up of community members that is highly invested in all the decisions that are made. So you have to accommodate and serve those people in that community. That's your job as a property manager. You are not the boss telling people to pay rent or filing for evictions in this case. You are a consultant who is serving a board and who is serving a community, right? So that's the first big difference. And because of that, your whole mindset has to change about how you deal with that community. It's no longer about enforcing one standard or a couple standards according to state law. There are many different other issues that have to do with that community because of it. They have decisions on how they trim trees. They have decisions they have to make on what color their doors are in their houses in some cases. These are all things that the community or the board puts into their bylaws, and that becomes a governing document. And you have to be familiar with that, and you have to be prepared to serve that community in that context. The second thing kind of piggybacks off of the first issue, and that is that there are a set of bylaws that are drafted for every community, which then becomes kind of the guidelines or rules by which that community operates. These things are initially usually drafted by an attorney when the community is being built, condos or houses. But as the community is built and then turned over to the residents themselves to govern with an association, they will run into different issues that they will then draft addendums for or amendments for in their bylaws, and that will become the new governing document. For example, there are, like I said earlier, rules about, in some communities, what color your door is. You can't just go paint it. What kind of fence you can have around the front of your yard, how you can park your cars on the street, where you can throw trash away, what kind of trucks are plowing your neighborhood, who are you hiring to do that. In a condominium, you might have how is maintenance being done? Is there a full-time maintenance person that you, the association, have hired? Are you going to rely on the property management company to provide those people? These are all things that are specifically unique to an association, because the community and the board, along in conjunction with the property manager, makes those decisions and then makes those things happen. Whereas in property management, in the regular world of property management, there's Maryland state law, there's housing law, and that's what you do. There's no question about it. No one's giving you any input. You're administering tenant Maryland law, housing law, as it's all already recorded. And there's no amending anything, there's no changing anything. In association management, you have to be ready to be flexible and adapt to those bylaws, and to actually contribute to help make those bylaws effective and helpful to that community. This requires you to have an increased or separate technical knowledge to what might best serve a community in that context, whether that's knowing the right roofers that can do the right style of roof on the buildings that you are managing, or if it's knowing a specific problem with a specific vendor who is a gardening company and avoiding them so that the community doesn't suffer, or, not using a certain type of mulch because it'll wash away when it rains. These are all things that you want to become intimately aware of with each community as you're managing, and it makes it a more technical and involved endeavor than just collecting rent from a rental property for an owner. The third thing is an association or condo or homeowners association management. There are different specific needs than on behalf of the client, which is the community, on the part of the property manager. And some of those needs, aside from the physical things that we just kind of touched on in the last point, are very specific financial reporting needs, all the way down to the style of bank account that exists, that holds the money that the community puts in to pay for various things, the type of insurance that the community needs to obtain and maintain, the type of financial reporting that we would give to the board, also known as a management report. That style of report is vastly different from any sort of financial report that you would give a regular owner or investor of a rental property. And the reason is because there are various reserve accounts that are required in community management that are drafted in their bylaws, so that community, that neighborhood, or that condo building, should an emergency occur, they'll have backup funds to be able to take care of a large maintenance issue or a large personnel issue or any kind of legal problem. These are all specific to each community, and in general a bit more complicated than just collecting rent and paying it to an owner. Because of that, it makes it so that a property management company needs to have specific knowledge about how those accounts are organized and how to report them, how best to report them. It's not just you print out a image of a bank statement and send it to the board every month. You need to track what type of interest income are you getting. You need to track where you are in your budget versus what you're actually collecting. You need to be able to make a analysis of how you can bring that up to par and make a suggestion to the board to assist them. You need to be able to help shop around for the proper insurances, master policies that have to do with insuring the whole community or the whole condo building. And then you have to be able to advise on certain liability insurance policies that are going to be specific to each building or client, which requires a property manager to be able to really do their homework in an industry that they're not directly involved in, i.e. insurance or banking. But it requires a company such as ourselves, or any company that's doing it, to have a good understanding of those processes, so that you can help assist make the right decision on where a large amount of money is going to be held, what kind of penalties would happen if you withdrew money early. How do you help get the community the highest interest rate? If they're housing a lot of money, it's going to sit there for a while, you want it to earn good interest. What are the best types of accounts to do that? Is it legal to have those accounts? These are all things that, even though we're not lawyers or attorneys, we should be fluent in assisting with. So those are the three big factors that make association management different from property management. Okay, so the second topic we wanted to cover is, what are some specific problems that occur in association management? And we have three basic things that we run into that kind of are unique to association management. So the first item is enforcing collections. So everyone has to pay what are known as association dues, condo dues, homeowners association dues. It's that little payment that no one likes to pay. That's not your mortgage, it's not taxes, it's a extra payment that goes to the association, and it covers things like grounds maintenance. If you have a pool in your building, pool maintenance, common area maintenance for buildings or for outbuildings, for common lawns, for fields, and for playgrounds and stuff. Your condo dues go to that, right? So there's always going to be, most residents are fine, but there always is going to be some residents here and there who are not paying. And enforcing those collections is, you don't just take them to rent court. You have to actually go through the process of having an experienced real estate attorney who can be able to potentially file a lien on the property. This is how you deal with that if you can't get someone to pay. That's one specific problem that we have. The next one is specialized building or community issues that are unique to these types of buildings. So one example would be, you have a large building that's full of condos that are high-end condos, and you might have a very large or a very intricate style plumbing drain system. This is an issue we've actually had, whereby it gets after a decade or so, it gets cruddied up with material and debris in the drain system, and you hire a plumber that you want them to clean it out, but it's because of how specialized it is, you can't use conventional cleaning methods, right? You have to find a specialized vendor who has the right equipment and tools and the right materials to actually clean that specific system, because it was built in that building as kind of a new concept. That's a specific building issue that's unique to that association. You then have to get approval to spend all that money out of either reserves or by means of a special assessment to get that issue fixed. That's another unique problem. And the third thing that comes up is conflicting viewpoints between residents, right? So because the association is managed by the community, basically, through a board, there's a lot of voting that happens and a lot of input that happens. John Smith over in ABC 123 Street might think that the common area trees are getting old and need to be taken down. Mary Sue over on XYZ Street, she might think you better not cut those trees down, they're still in good shape. And you can have conflicting views about these types of things, and because of that, you have to be able to assist the board to act as a good mediator to help the community resolve any kind of conflicts that are holding it back, so that the community can be well maintained and operate in good condition. So guys, the third topic that we wanted to cover today is what makes MH properties stand out. And there are two big things that make us stand out when it comes to association management. The first thing is, we have a very adaptive property management software. So what I mean by that is, if you are a condo association with 100 units, condo association with 3 buildings and 300 units, or if you are a homeowners association in a community of houses in a neighborhood, our software can adapt to your types of residents, which will allow us to record your financials accurately no matter what type of association you are. So for example, we manage anything from resident-owned trailer parks all the way up to $1 million condos, penthouses that are on the edge of the harbor in downtown Baltimore. Our software allows us to adapt to each of those communities so that we can effectively assist you in managing your properties. We can collect dues, we can provide good reports, we can provide support to any asset class, all the way from a trailer park all the way up to a penthouse in your community. The second thing is, and probably more importantly, is that we have specialized experience. And what that means is we have property managers who are experienced in all of these issues that we've mentioned throughout this video. We have already experienced the difficulties of specialized building problems. We've experienced the difficulties of different types of communities and the difficulties between residents, and we've already helped mitigate several discrepancies in communities where it seemed as if there wasn't an easy resolution, but we were able to get that done. And finally, we're experienced in specialized reporting. Every association is different. Your style of reporting and banking and management report is going to be very different from another association's. 400 houses in Baltimore County in a community is way different than a condo building downtown. We understand that and have experience in each of those types of asset classes. So guys, if you like this video, visit our website, mhpropertymgmt.com. Send us an email, let us know how we can assist you, or if we can answer any questions for you.